Lakeland Public Television's Common Ground is brought to you by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
This is our 9th annual quilt show. We always do it the second weekend in September in Pine River, along with their Heritage Days. The Heritage Days bringing back more of the system of travel back then was railroads. They're revamping the depot, the Pine River Depot, from years ago. And so they have a display over there about the Pine River Railroad system. There is other displays in town for Heritage Days. We collect the quilts from all the quilters in the area and display them here so that people are inspired and motivated. Just glad to see other people's work. We usually have between 100 and 125 pieces to display. That includes table runners, wall hangings, full-size quilts, throw-size quilts, lap quilts, tablecloths, aprons, sweatshirts, anything that's quilted, sewn. Between probably 25 to 40 different quilters in the area, although we do take quilts from seasonal people that are up here just at their cabins for the summer. They like to display. We've got people from Iowa, people from southern Minnesota that have found out about the quilt show and that they are quilters, so they're more than willing to bring quilts up to display in our show, which we're happy for. It does draw a lot of local people out to see what people are working on, and it's always nice to have the locals, but it's always nice to hear about people that are coming from distances to come and see what we do too. Just today, I ran into a couple that just drove up for the day from the Twin Cities area. They had found out about this quilt show in Pine River through a flyer that they had gotten in a quilt shop, and they saw that Pine River was having a quilt show, so they came up just for the day, and that's always nice to see when people from out of the area come and are motivated and inspired by what they see hanging here. I'm a very creative person. I'm an artist in other areas as well as quilting, so I have done stained glass and rose mauling and painting, and I've just now started doing a lot more quilting. I've made quilts for years, ever since my kids were small. And so I've made quilts for all my children and all my parents and all my brothers. And so I have many, many quilts, but I love it. It's a passion. This one is Hearthside Harmony, and this one is made out of just fat quarters. And it is a very simple pattern. It's just the way you lay it out. It's just a dark and a light fabric, and they're all half square triangles. It's simply just a scrappy one. And this one's hand quilted, and it's about a full-size quilt. Quilting's been around for lots and lots of years. The things that are changing now are people are coming up with different ideas, different patterns every year. You see what people can do with quilts where they're taking a picture of a landscape and they're making a whole quilt that looks like a landscape from a photo, which is really quite unique in itself. But I think a lot of people are going into quilting that never really were involved in it before. For years it was kind of a thing of the past, it was fading out. But I think it's reviving now, and you're seeing younger and younger quilters participating in making quilts. My granddaughter, I taught her how to sew, so she's displaying her first quilt here this year. And so it's good to see the younger generation also get into the quilting scene. And it's nice to see different things, and everybody's imagination and creativity is so different. So you never know what you're going to see when it comes through the door. But that's what makes it unique. It's always something fresh. Even if you're not a quilter, you can appreciate the colors, the patterns. Always brings back a flood of memories, because people will look at a certain quilt and they'll go, oh, I remember my grandma having that, or I remember my great-grandma made one like that, or we have a scrap quilt that my grandma made out of her dresses and Dad's old work shirts. So quilting, a lot of times it brings back memories for people. And that's what we enjoy, because then we get to hear those stories.
If you enjoyed this segment of Lakeland Public Television's Common Ground, consider making a contribution at lptv.org. If you have segment ideas pertaining to North Central Minnesota, contact us at legacy@lptv.org. Common Ground is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund by the vote of the people on November 4th, 2008.